You are a prolific author, along with being an incredible scientist. You've written many books, including The Joy of Movement. And I gotta tell you, this has been an incredible read, and I wanna just jump right into it. So many people know that you kind of feel good when you exercise, but you've shared that there's so much more going on in the body, in the brain, physiologically. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, let's talk about a few of the stages of why exercise makes us feel better. So, first of all, as soon as you become a little bit more active, you get your heart rate up a little bit, you're breathing more deeply, you're using your muscles, you get the feel better effect. And that's the result of the adrenaline and the dopamine in your brain that give you more energy and boost your mood. So, really, any dose of movement, as little as a couple of minutes, a dance party in your kitchen, climbing some stairs, doing a few yoga poses, that's going to immediately make you feel more energized and more hopeful. But we also know that if you persist a little bit longer, about 20 minutes or so of continuous movement, you get the exercise high or the persistence high. And that's where you start to see really interesting changes in brain chemistry, like increases in endocannabinoids that reduce stress, relieve anxiety, continue to boost mood. And that's why when you do something like a workout or you're active for longer, you don't just feel better, you really feel like a better version of yourself. And we know that those brain changes can persist for hours after you exercise. And it's why so many people like me will actually use exercise as a way to tap into our own courage, our own optimism or confidence to really become like a better version of ourselves for everything else that matters in life. And I should say, by the way, it's not just a short-term effect. One of the things we know is that regular exercise changes not only the function of your brain, but even the structure of your brain in ways that sensitize you to joy and also make you more resilient to stress. In the same way that we know when you exercise, it changes the structure and function of your heart, the structure and the function of your muscles. The same thing is happening to your brain. And it's why exercise often has an antidepressant effect and can lead to these lasting changes in resilience and well-being.
That's incredible. And earlier you talked about dopamine and the typical hormone we associate with exercising and getting the adrenaline going, etc. But then you also mentioned, endocannabinoids. That sounds a little bit like something, A. B, when was that newly discovered? Is that like a cutting edge thing that we now understand? Wait a minute, there's this whole other biochemical and hormonal kind of pathway that we didn't know about. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so it's really only been in the last few years that researchers have looked at what's behind that classic exercise high and discovered that it's not only endorphins. When you exercise, you're physically active, the brain naturally releases these endocannabinoids in a way that's a little bit different from a cannabis high. That the primary effect people notice is, first of all, this relief of what I would call like the inner suffering of your mind, the physical pain, the worries, the rumination, the self-doubt, and this amplification of everything that feels good. What is particularly interesting to me about endocannabinoids is they are part of sort of the biological mechanism for bonding with other people. So when endocannabinoid levels are high in your brain, it makes it easier to connect with other people. It draws out the joy of things like cooperating, of play, of physical touch, helping other people. And so it's one of those reasons why, after people are physically active, if you go for a run or you work out at the gym, people often report finding it easier to connect with family and friends or even strangers. And we know that actually for 24 hours after people are active, that they have more positive interactions with other people. I think that it's part of the understanding why being physically active is sort of part of how we are human. Being active can actually draw out some of these classic human strengths, like our ability to cooperate and to take joy in that.
You talk more often about moving than exercise. And I think that's so important because a lot of people think that exercise means I have to train to run a marathon or I have to do 2 days in the gym. Really unpack that for the listeners.
So I talk about movement in part because a lot of the benefits that we've talked about, they're about engaging with life through your body. So it can be gardening, it can be walking to run errands. It can be playing with your pets or your children. It can be, dancing at a wedding. It doesn't have to be movement purely for the sake of improving your physical health, which is what we often think of as exercise. I also tell people you don't have to run a marathon, but you can if you want to. So a lot of this is about finding movement that is enjoyable and meaningful.
The hope molecule. What is that?
I think this is possibly the most fascinating scientific insight of the last decade. And this is the understanding that your muscles are endocrine organs. We think about muscles, these things attached to our bones, as helping us move through the world. But biologists now know that muscles are also endocrine organs that manufacture and secrete all sorts of chemicals into your bloodstream that affect every system of your body. And what's so fascinating is that your muscles are manufacturing basically molecules that are medicine, but they only release it when you contract your muscles through movement and through exercise. And they include molecules that support heart health, that improve bone health, that regulate blood sugar, even some molecules that kill cancer cells. So it's, first of all, we got this amazing scientific finding that your muscles are like a pharmacy for every aspect of good health. And the only way to access that pharmacy is to move your body. So that on its own is amazing. But the hope molecules, that's the insight that a lot of these chemicals actually affect your brain. That when you move your body and your muscles are releasing these chemicals into your bloodstream, many of these molecules make their way to your brain where they act like an antidepressant, where they reduce anxiety, and where they start to change the structure of your brain over time in ways that make you more resilient. And so some of these biologists said, have we discovered the hope molecules? And the reason I love that phrase is because it means when I exercise, when I go for a walk, I can say to myself, I'm giving myself an intravenous dose of hope. And it's such an amazing way to think about our bodies, not as these sort of barriers to happiness or these things we have to control and fix, but to think about your body as this friend that is able to support you through something as almost miraculous as hope molecules.
Talk about who can do this stuff. Who can generate the hope molecule?
This is for everyone. I always tell people you start where you are with the body that you have and you move whatever parts of your body still move. We're not talking necessarily about the most fit athletes or just young people. For example, I visited an adaptive fitness gym where people who are partially paralyzed or recovering from stroke are boxing and doing obstacle course training and amazing feats of strength and experiencing not only things like the persistence high, but like the deep meaning that comes from tackling physical challenges and discovering how tough you are. I went to a dance class for people with Parkinson's disease, where people are experiencing that collective joy of moving to music, of self-expression, and of moving in a community, of dancing with others. This really it's for all bodies. It does not require losing weight. It does not require being in perfect health. We know that, in fact, many of the people who have some barriers to movement are also the ones who experience the most benefit from it. So I really want to encourage people to look for a community where you feel like you belong, where your body makes sense, and to do the movement that feels good or that makes you feel good about yourself.